So, good afternoon. My name is Frederico Falcão. I'm the president of Vini Portugal, Wines of Portugal. And I'm here to welcome you because I couldn't be joining you there in your lovely lunch. So let me tell you something about Portugal. Portugal is a very small country in Europe, very close to Spain. So we are between Spain and the Atlantic Ocean. But when it comes to wine, we are number 9 in the world as the biggest wine exporter, and also number 9 as the biggest country, the biggest with the vineyard area. So regarding these two, the wine exports and the area of vineyards, Portugal becomes one of the biggest countries in the world. So it's the wine business. It's in our culture. It's in our nation. It has been linked to our people since ever. So regarding our national markets, Portugal is the biggest wine consumption per capita in the world. So no one in the world drinks more wine per capita than the Portuguese or the people in Portugal. So wine it's also very linked to our culture, to our nature, to our way of life. So in this year, 2020, our domestic market is dropping because a big part of our wine consumption, it's because of our tourism also. So because the tourism has fallen because of this pandemic situation, so the wine consumption in Portugal is dropping, but still we are big wine drinkers, with moderation, of course. So regarding exports, we are growing in exports in value since 2010. So we are growing roughly 3.3% each year in exports, and 2010 was the year when we created the Wines of Portugal brands. So this brand has been with us since 2010, and it's the brand we promote in all our promotion activities. Japan, in this period, so in the last 10 years, Japan is growing 6% a year. So it's a very important market for the Wines of Portugal. It's a market we are willing to invest more and more. Our biggest exports wine markets are France, United States, United Kingdom, and Brazil. So these are the main 4 countries we export the most. So if we exclude the port wine, which has a big influence on value, on our exports, United States becomes our biggest market of wine. The second one would be Brazil. So in all these countries and Canada and the northern countries of Europe, like Sweden, Finland, Norway, Portugal is growing a lot. So we are growing more than many of our competitors in the world, in the markets we are operating in, which we are investing. In Portugal has a big variety of grape varieties. So we have more than 250 different grape varieties. So we are the second biggest country in Europe regarding grape varieties, native grape varieties. And more our wine companies, our viticulture managers, they are planting some forgotten varieties, some varieties that were almost lost, but they are now being planted more and more. So Portugal is making wines very different, unique wines to be discovered. Also, we have 14 different wine regions that are very different between themselves. So we have very dry and hot regions like Douro or Trás-os-Montes or Alentejo. And then we have some regions with more Atlantic influence, not so hot, with more rainfall. I would say Vinhos Verdes, also Bairrada, Lisboa. So altogether we have 14 wine regions that are very different between themselves. So you can find different soils, different grapes, different climates, different wines. So it's a lot to be discovered in our Portuguese wines. Also, Alentejo is now starting to get an ancient practice of talha fermentation. So talha are big clay pots, and they ferment wines in those clay pots like we used to do in the old times, in the Roman times. So a lot of new things are coming up, a lot of innovation in wines. Also, we have our grape producers going towards the sustainable viticulture in winery as well. So we are more and more worried about the sustainable of our business. Regarding Japan, we have been investing in Japan since 2015. We have an agreement with the GSA, which is your sommelier association. We promote your sommelier association contests. We are also making some events in Tokyo and Osaka, wine tastings. Also some academies to explain and teach a bit more about the Portuguese wines and Portuguese regions and Portuguese grape varieties. So more and more we are giving information on our country to be explored. We are also doing a lot of promotion with the opinion leaders, with journalists, and I would like to welcome you all. I hope you have a great lunch, and we are counting on you to be our ambassadors in Japan. On behalf of Wines of Portugal, we would like to thank Wine and Wine Culture, and in particular Yumi Tanal and her team for their work developed in 2020 on the Japanese markets. Arigato gozaimashita.